Okay, so we've got a great room full of people which are fantastic. We're thrilled. We have some special guests with us tonight, and hopefully we get everybody's questions answered. We have a podium up here for people to come up when they have questions. It's step down, but it will be important because we've got so many people in here to please, as much as you want to whisper to your neighbor and chat about comments, please don't. So everybody can continue to hear. We got a little bit of chatting over on the left there. Everybody settled in. It's after 7. So what I'm going to do is just an opening is because we have so many new members. Excuse me. We're ready to go here. So if everybody can kind of get their seat and settle in. Because we have so many new people, I'm going to take you from when we started this project in 2023 to give you a little chronology of what steps we took and why we're where we're at. Then we'll open it up at that point for questions. And I'll introduce the people that we have here tonight to help us because they've been with us this most of the way. So I'm going to jump right in to just give you an update, okay? So in the early 2023, the Board of Directors recognized that a critical portion of our community's infrastructure, the domestic potable water system, had reached the end of its useful life. That was confirmed with a reserve study we did in that year as well, and it was about 10 years overdue from being replaced. With over 1,000 residents, Jamaica Bay functions like a small city, and maintaining our infrastructure is not optional. We've seen consequences of deferred maintenance in other Florida communities, some resulting in catastrophic failures and uninhabitable conditions. That was never going to be our path with this board. Faced with a crossroads, the board identified 2 options: proactively replace the water system as inexpensively as we could, or we wait for it to fail. Second option was immediately ruled out. A system failure would render Jamaica Bay uninhabitable until clean water could be restored, a risk we could not accept. Quality of life, health, and safety of the community needs to be the cornerstone of any decision. Our first outreach in October of 2023 was Poonam Kalkat, the Director of Utilities, who's sitting on my right, for the City of Boynton Beach, to explore potential support. At that point, we discussed the City of Boynton Beach taking over our water infrastructure. That meeting and subsequent discussions clarified a key misconception that it still seems to be circulating. The city was not taking over the infrastructure or metering individual homes. This is a direct quote from Poonam at the time on December 6th. My suggestion would be to reach out to the FRWA contact, and he can explain the potential funding avenues and how the projects have worked in the past with other organizations. At this time, our team feels that it is the best possible path and scenario, and we can work with your team to try and get that worked out. And this is in bold. The city does not plan to take over the system, as we would prefer to keep the community on a master meter with Jamaica Bay continuing to manage the system. At that point, that option was off the table. So talking about it 2.5 years later, it's still off the table. Looking forward to, and they were looking forward to working with us and getting everything managed and help us. And they have been an extreme help in getting us to the right connections. So at that point, we did confirm, is the Sea Meadows scenario not an option? It was not an option. As a cooperative, sourcing water collectively remains one of our greatest advantages. Individual metering would have imposed significant monthly costs on shareholders. In late 2023, there was quite an uproar in the community because I mentioned metering at one meeting. I did not say we were doing it. I said that would be what would happen if there was ever a different scenario. We said it was not going to happen right away, but a shareholder decided to get the community all upset thinking meters were going to be put in here. And people were very upset about it because it would cost a lot more because you would have a standard charge on your individual meter, even when you're not using water. So that was not going to happen. And that is off the table now. So those 2 things do not need to be brought up again because they're not going to happen. On January 9th, 2024, we met with the Florida Rural Water Association, And in our search for solutions, the board discovered funding programs offering low-interest loans and principal forgiveness. To qualify, we transitioned to a not-for-profit structure. That strategic move opened up the door to financial support that could spare our shareholders, many on fixed incomes, from a burdensome special assessment. At one point, the projected cost was over $15,000 per share. As most of you remember, there was also a small group of people who decided to fight that conversion and think it had to be some big trick. It made it very difficult to get it done on a timely and efficient basis, but we managed to get that accomplished too. We learned from Colonial Estates, who successfully replaced their water system and roads and worked with the Florida Rural Water Association. And with their guidance and referrals, we began engineering and cost analysis. At the same time, Jack Collins and I worked for months on both the USDA and SRF funding applications. The USDA loan and grant funding program is much more cumbersome and complex, even though our contacts at the USDA have been very supportive. We switched over to the SRF stream at that point because it was going to take us too long to get through the paperwork and all the regulations for USDA. And that was now our priority, knowing we can go back to the USDA as a secondary source of funding later. We were fortunate to be connected with and engaged Daniel Magro, who you've seen at 2 of our town hall meetings previously. And he's an experienced engineer working with both the USDA and the SRF. His expertise has been instrumental in getting us where we are today. His firm is now leading the initial design phase, supported by 2 specialized engineering firms. One of them you probably saw some of the trucks in here this week doing surveying. I am very proud, on behalf of the board, to report that our efforts have secured an initial design phase loan of just under $1 million with a 10-year repayment term at a very low interest rate. Best of all, 50% of the principal is forgiven. That's a $485,000 grant to our community. And since we will likely not need the full $970,000 we've been given, the final loan amount will be even lower. Tonight, our goal is to update you on the progress, outline the next steps, and introduce you to the professionals guiding this project. We remain committed to transparency and shareholder communication every step of the way, and we have done so far. Importantly, our current financial plan ensures, please listen to this carefully, no increase in your assessment fees. What we've come up with now is even better than the news we told you before, which was going to be an initial $10 phase 1 cost and $60 a month phase 2 cost. It is now $0. And the reason for that is any loan repayment will be offset by reallocating funds from your monthly reserve. If we continue and don't do anything, your reserve amount, which is part of your monthly fee, almost half of it, will be topped up dramatically to get ready for disaster. If we do not do it, if we do go ahead with this project, that amount for the loan repayment comes right out of what you're paying now. So there is no increase with it. We are also working with the SRF to try to eliminate the need to put any of the land up as collateral for the loan. The worst case estimated as it could be only on the common property, which would more than satisfy, and we will be sharing you at the board meeting tomorrow night the appraisal we got. It would more than satisfy the collateral, so only the common property. This would mean there would be no liens on any lots under a proprietary lease for all our shareholders. There can never be a lien on your home, as they do not belong to Jamaica Bay. But it will not be on your home for sure, and it will not be on your property. So this belongs to you only. And this means that there are, again, no restrictions on buying and selling any shareholder homes if we go ahead. Sorry. Although we cannot guarantee the outcome of the SRF application process for the construction loan grant when we apply for it in August 26th, we have an encouraging example from another community, Japanese Gardens. In August this past year, August 13th, when we got our 50% grant for the design phase, They applied for funding of $9.8 million for a similar project, although they are a smaller community than we are. They received 67% as a grant and only need to pay $2.7 million back over 20 years at 1.5%. Wow. Daniel was also responsible for this application, and Japanese Gardens had a lower score than Jamaica Bay does in terms of the urgency of the project. So when the application goes in, based on all our criteria, on the income, on the importance, on the amount of breaks we have, all of the different issues, our contamination issue, although it's horrible, it increased our score way up because it's very urgent. So that means more money quicker. So we don't know what it'll be until we get through to August of this year. But in speaking at with the manager at Japanese Gardens, the entire community is extremely happy and still in a bit of shock about the good fortune on their grant allocation. And we have a higher score than they do. It doesn't guarantee us anything because it depends on all the applications that come in then. But with the maximum received on the first part and seeing how the score received on the second part of construction, we are extremely hopeful. At this time, and the one thing that we do want to say is to thank you for the majority of the people in here for your continued trust and support as we work together to safeguard Jamaica Bay's future. And at this time, I have introduced Daniel Magro from ACLIS Engineering, who has attended two of the previous forums. And joining us is Poonam Kalka, Utilities Director at the City of Boynton Beach. And also, she's provided a great deal of assistance and have been a strong supporter the whole way with our project. And also Josh McDermott to her right, who is the Deputy Director of Utilities at the City of Boynton. And we are in regular contact with both Josh and Poonam now because of our water usage issues and the increasing leaks and the increasing money we're spending. We are, as we've warned you in the budgeting process, we are extremely over our budget on the water this year. Another reason that we need to fix this problem. So I'm going to turn this over to questions. What I would like to do is, so we don't wait for each person to come up, if we can kind of get a lineup going this way, people come right up, grab the microphone, and I'm going to turn this over to the experts.
Good evening, Joanne and board members and guests from the various utilities. Wayne Diana 36019 Dron Bay. I have a couple questions regarding the application.
Lift the microphone up. Yeah.
It should raise up a bit there.
All right, so I have some questions.
Where are we going?
I have some questions for the folks who completed the application, and I think Daniel is probably the one who's going to address my questions. Mr. Magro, in the application, it talks about a 15% coverage SRF required. What exactly is that, sir?
Hello? Okay. So it's a SRF program rule say that every community that borrows money from their program, not only they need to guarantee the repayment of the loan, but also guarantee their maintaining an additional 15% in addition to the amount they have to repay as extra, if you will, just in case for any unforeseens or anything. Once you repay the loan, then that requirement goes away, and the 15% that you saved in those periods of time, it goes back to you.
So it's a 15% that we're putting away somewhere in escrow, perhaps?
Something like that. You just have to keep it in your account.
Okay, and a more or less a contingency fund or an overage fund, would that be fair to say, or not really?
Not really. At this point, you've already done the project, and you're basically repaying the loan with the principal amount. Say
Okay.
you're paying back 100 a month,
Mhm.
you have to make sure you're collecting from the community 115 just to make sure you keep that safe, just in case.
I understand, thank you. In the background information on, in section 2.1, it talks about a small water plant here on the property that was abandoned in 1992. That water plant still exists, sir, or it does not?
No, it was a
It does not, okay. The structure or the facility still exists, it's just not being used?
I honestly haven't seen it. It's been demolished, right? It's gone.
Okay, so it's where the annex building is now, that was the facility and the pump was outside. Okay, thank you. Under new service connections, again, in the introduction, in the executive summary on page, in paragraph 3, talks about new service connections. Okay, and the quote is that new service connections will be made to every home. Can you explain how far is that process? So new service connection. So at my home, I have the main runs through my backyard, and then I have a shutoff valve behind my house. Is that where you're going? Or are you going further than that? Does the project take the homeowner any further than that shutoff valve at the back of their house?
So the homeowner, the new water main will be going through the front of the house.
So they're going to be in the street?
They're going to be in the street.
Okay.
The rest, it varies, but generally in the front of the house, not in the back alleys, because that's very congested with all the utilities, right?
Okay.
Then that's the main. From the main, there will be a service line, as maybe a 1-inch or 3/4-inch pipe that will go from the main to the back of the house. So essentially, at each house where you have the connection, you'll be disconnected from the old system right there, and then connected exactly at the same spot with the new system.
Okay. So we're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, an 8-inch main in the street, 6-inch main in the street, it varies?
It varies. Some
Okay.
will be 8, some will be 3.
Okay. So from the main that's in the street, that comes from the Boynton City Water, the meter and everything, it's gonna tee off onto my property, run down one side of my house or the other in a smaller line, and eventually connect to the existing water shutoff at my house. That's right. Is there any concern on your part that once you connect that new water service, that the existing pipage in the house that is as old as the houses, which are as old as the community, will not be able to withstand the pressure of that new system?
So the pressure of the new system will not be higher than the pressure of the existing system, because the pressure is whatever pressure you get from the street from what.
Okay.
Okay. During the connection process, the contractor needs to be careful to open the valve slowly, so as to limit any, impacts or every hammer effect, if you will.
Yes.
That could cause issues inside the house.
It would probably be fair to say that the existing pipage that leads to and goes into the house has been reduced by buildup on the inside. So what might have been an 1.5-inch pipe, or maybe a 1-inch or a 3/4-inch pipe, possibly might be reduced in size. So the same pressure going to it that has caused all these water supply line leaks is not a concern going forward, that it's going to be too much pressure for inside the home, under the home and then inside?
That's not a concern. The pressure doesn't cause the scaling. And then the connection is done just outside the house. So none of the pipes inside the house will be touched or shouldn't be affected in any way.
Okay, except that those pipes have likely outlived their existence too, right? Their lifespan?
Inside the house?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Most likely. I don't know. Maybe not.
Okay.
But that's a homeowner problem, right? Like, if we're not.
Well, that's exactly my point, Madam President. It is a homeowner
Sorry,
problem.
can you
And
let
the
me-
cost 8 years ago to replace piping in a house was about $2,000. So we're
But the
gonna,
pressure coming in is identical to what you have now. So if the water flows through your pipes now, there's not going to be some blast that's going to knock the pipes out of your house. So it'll be no different, Daniel said a couple of times now, than what you have. So.
so move on, is that what you're saying?
No, but nothing's going to change.
No.
Under health and safety items on your plan, asbestos cement pipe, proper handling and removal, who will monitor that?
So you have some of the water mains here are asbestos cement pipe.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. It stays where it is. If that pipe is removed, the contractor will have to go through a process where they bag it. They are very careful with that material, so there's nothing gets airborne. So there's a whole process to that. Many communities choose to not take it out. They just leave it in the ground. They grout it, and that might be a solution for this case.
Okay.
But if they are taken out, they have to follow those
Right,
procedures.
there's a very specific procedure. Okay. On page 10, it talks about hydrants, existing on 2, 3, or 4-inch mains. Where are the 8-inch mains currently in the property? Do you have any idea? Are there any 8-inch mains currently in the property, and will there be any in the replacement system?
Yes, there are some 8-inch mains, mainly around some of the major roads and corridors. I would have to show you in a map.
Mm-hmm.
But my understanding is some hydrants are connected to those 8-inch mains, but also to smaller water mains that should not. They can't carry the fire flow requirements. So as far as new mains, there will be mostly 8, and then in areas where they're not needed, smaller pipes. So all new hydrants, for sure, they're going to be connected to the larger diameter mains.
Okay, so that takes me to my next question regarding the hydrants. Currently, hydrants are being fed only from Boynton Beach potable water supply or from another supply, if you know.
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I've heard many different things, blow-ups and hydrants, and
Okay.
there's some on irrigation. I wouldn't know. The drawings are not very complete of what you have in the ground. So, yeah.
Okay. On page 16, it talks about 2-inch PVC being installed for the irrigation system in the northeast quadrant that does not have irrigation water. It has potable water going into the irrigation system. At one point in the application, or the explanation of the application, it talks about 4,000 feet of 2-inch PVC irrigation pipe, which we know is not in the SRF funds. That's something we have to pay for on our own. We get that. Further down on page 16, it talks about a significant amount more, 12,000 linear feet of 2-inch pipe to do that. Do you have any idea which number is correct? My concern, sir, is not so much which dimension is correct, but is the $600,000 price tag correct, whether it's 4,000 or 12,000, which probably we know the answer to that question. It's not.
Yeah, I'll have to see exactly what numbers you're looking at. I know there's 2-inch PVC for irrigation, but also for potable.
Okay.
So maybe, there's a separate line item in the cost estimate. So I'm not sure, maybe those are
Okay.
mixed.
So as a line item, it's just not listed, it's just not broken down into potable and irrigation, because it does say 12,000 feet. I'm sorry, 1,200 feet. No, I was right the first time. 4,000 and 12,000 is what it says. On table 5, 5-1, item 21, it calls for 12,000 linear feet. And on the paragraph on page 16, it calls for 4,000.
Okay, I'll have to see that.
Okay.
If that's a discrepancy, I'll have to see it. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
In table 4.1, the piping and the components assume a 70-year lifespan. Is that accurate?
That's based on industry standard average service life for water facilities.
Okay.
Pipes, hydrants, valves, all those have different
Okay, and the difference between our current system, which has a 50-year lifespan, and what you project in the new plan is the quality of the material, better material, newer material. Is that where that comes from?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the new pipes nowadays are much better than it used to be decades ago. They last a lot longer. Yeah, absolutely.
Understand. So my next question is for Ms. Durant. How long, Joanne, has the water issue actually existed that you're aware of?
Somebody else can probably answer it, but as long as I've lived here, the water has been cut off.
Okay. So,
Wait, sorry.
I've been here 15 years. The first year I lived in my house, the water didn't break.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been a problem.
For many years.
Yeah, I've been here 13 and it's been forever, so I think it's been a long time.
Why is it important?
so this, the cross-contamination, Joanne, again, back to you.
Sure.
The cross-contamination, were we ever able to determine the source?
No, without digging up all of the pipes, which would be millions of dollars, and we'd have no new pipes. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, so it's never been determined.
Never.
Okay, my next question is for Mr. Friedman. Mr. Friedman, is it not true that you told some of these folks sitting up here tonight in an email that you had checked every unit in the community and you found no cross-contamination, or you could not determine if there was cross-contamination?
We went through, I don't have microphones, so I'll speak up. We went through with staff, looking at all the connections to every house, to see whether it was obviously,
Sorry.
Our staff went to every single home. We checked all the connections to the house to determine whether it was obviously a pipe coming from the irrigation system or whether we could determine it was potable water. So yes, that was what we did to try to locate, if we could, where the cross-contamination was.
Thank you. How about water tests? Has the park conducted any kind of water testing whatsoever?
Steve, sorry. The water test, sorry.
There was water testing done by the health department. They came out and checked the water, and if I'm not wrong, the city of Boynton Beach checked to make sure that what they were giving us through their supply line was checked, and both came up with the same response, that basically it was acceptable levels.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you wait out if you've got questions, come back because we can't see.
Okay, so we collectively, a group of us set up an email site for people who are reluctant to ask questions at an open meeting for whatever reason. And we offered to ask the questions at the open meeting at the town hall meeting. So the questions have already been, the concerns you have, for the reason for calling this meeting are pretty apparent. Can you share with us the rumors and concerns that you felt you needed to calm down the residents? And that's a quote from your email. What exactly is being said or done, Joanne, that you think is?
It's nothing to do with the email, because but we were hearing that we had missed the boat on the Sea Meadows, that there had been an opportunity to get the water restructure done for free and have everything metered. So it was pretty much everything that I addressed in the front. And people, there are many, many, many people who have come to us with those concerns that this was being spread around. I don't know who spread it. I don't know who said it, but they were coming to us as issues that aren't really an issue anymore, like I said in the opening remarks.
So, Joanne, I would offer to you, in a very friendly gesture, you have suggested to us that we should not subscribe to the rumor mill that takes place at the pool. I suspect if you've done the same, you have just made a point that many people have come to you expressing concerns, but yet you can't quote one.
Oh, that's not true.
Really?
That's
I
not
think I
true.
have quoted all of them. I have quoted them. Sea Meadows was a missed opportunity. That was one of them. I'm sure lots of people could stand up and say exactly what they were told, but I'm not listening to a rumor mill. These are shareholders that have been coming into all of us at the office and speaking to all board members. I don't know where they're coming from, but we just thought there seems to be a lot of stuff stirring up. People were contacting the city. You contacted the city to try to get information. People were saying they were.
I'm sorry, I contacted the city to what?
What, you contacted the city of Boynton Beach, correct?
Is that a problem for you? I'm
Not at all, but I'm just
I'm
saying,
confused why you would make that point with me.
well, I'm worried that 750 people may start contacting them. That would not be great for the city and what we're doing. And if people started to call SRF and all sorts of things, it could impact our.
Joanne, we have a right to know.
There isn't
We
anything
have
you
we
don't
have a
know.
right to know, Joanne. You don't have to get
You know
nasty.
everything.
No, I
You
just
don't,
said.
you don't have to, you don't have to turn your voice, you don't have to turn your voice on me,
I'm
Joanne.
not the least bit
I
nasty.
don't think she
Please,
did.
please don't turn your voice on me. I didn't ask for your opinion, by the way.
Who you
So I
talking?
have the floor.
Who you talking?
You're a bum.
So I have the floor.
You're a bum.
Would you like to come up here and talk, young lady? I have the floor. Sure. You ready? Okay. With that, I will, pass the baton to somebody else.
Good for you.
Thank you, Joanne.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I said thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness.
Wayne, go sit down.
I'm sorry. I was not-
Very clean,
So.
rock okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
Here's what I'd like to mention. We're arguing over the number 0. If we are gonna argue over the number 0, there's something wrong with us.
It's 0 right now. It's gonna be in 2 years.
We're 0.
Zero.
I had disagreements with the board. I still have them. Thank you for talking.
Sit down.
I apologize if I sound rude. I had numbers with the board that were higher than what they were. If we get 50%, which we did on the design loan, that's a win. Now we go to the operation loan, and Dan's working hard on that. There were estimates between 50 and 90% of the principal forgiveness. Well, let's say we come in at 70% principal forgiveness, and we got the 50% on the design loan. Our total would have been $35.52 a month. Now the number 0 strikes a familiar chord to me. I'm not a great speller, but I can spell 0. The only other comment, yeah, that's a good point, is question number 3, I believe it was, or question number 4. On the asbestos pipe, the best thing to do is just abandon it in place. You don't touch it. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, next question, please. And if anybody is ready after, I guess Sal's coming up, if anybody has something they want to do, if you wouldn't mind coming up, just so we don't have to wait too long in between questions. Thanks.
My name is Sal Sienna. I have a question. You presented to us everything you said that you were going to try to do, right? But nothing's in concrete that this is what's going to happen. Hopefully this will happen. Hopefully that will happen. But we don't have anything in concrete that this is what's going to happen. Is that correct? We assume it's going to happen.
We
but
have a
don't know
million,
that.
we have a 50% design loan that's in concrete.
Okay, 50%, but 50% is still 50. But the rest of the stuff about branch, about the other thing, how do they take just the common areas of our property?
We
I never heard
survey.
of that. I've never heard of
Well,
that.
hopefully we don't need that at all,
Oh, what do you need? They gotta take some.
but if we do need that, we will have to survey the
Wait,
common property.
how can they do that when it's one?
They have no problem with doing it. We've
When
already
it's,
asked them.
when the whole deed is one piece of property.
Doesn't
So you're
matter.
telling me they're gonna subdivide the properties?
We will
They
survey
can
it.
take away our, if they want to, we call the loan off, that they can own the clubhouse, but they won't own my
But
street.
who is gonna call the loan off? I want,
Anybody can call a loan off, that's why it's there, that's why
they've
they
never,
stand.
they've never once
We don't know
foreclosed
that,
on,
we don't know that.
this SRF, I believe, they have not foreclosed on a loan.
They won't give me an answer. I call.
Oh, you called the SRF.
That's right, I did call them, I don't have a problem doing that. Like, I don't have a problem calling and checking things. I don't understand where it's coming from.
So with the SRF program, when it's a municipality applying for the funding, this is an issue because it's municipalities, there are different kind of categories. When it's a not-for-profit, such as yourselves, they require one more thing, which is a collateral, the loan, just in case they decide not to pay back.
Mhm.
So that's the reason for the collateral. Now, they haven't gone back and called on that collateral ever in the history of the SRF that I know of. They are not in the business of doing that. And that would only even become a question if you don't repay the loan, the smaller portion of the non-principal forgiveness, if for some reason you decide not to pay it down.
Okay.
So that's when that comes into play.
And
We had a problem.
can I add something to this? I work with FRWA, the Florida Rural Water Association. I'm a board member on that too. And they work with many communities. I'm actually surprised that you were able to get a nonprofit designation and be able to apply for a loan like that. That usually doesn't happen. Sterling Village wasn't able to do that. We worked with them too. So I would commend some of the work that Danielle has been doing with your board to try and get you guys as much loan forgiveness, principal forgiveness as possible. You're asking for guarantees. I can guarantee if I start driving, I'll get home. Nobody can guarantee things, right? In life, we have to try to get the best thing we can and figure out a strategy so you don't get into any kind of collateral that needs to be paid out. So you'll have to come up with a plan. The community will have to come up with a
I
plan.
agree.
How you are going to pay.
I agree, but it was said, we're probably gonna get this, we're probably gonna get that, so we gotta put the plan together. That's all I'm saying, the same thing. Put the plan together, but don't tell people that good possibility getting this, good possibility getting that, because you're not getting any. These people are afraid of liens being on the property. And on your, Estapo, it says assessments, okay? That would go in under assessments on the Estapo that people get when they buy a house here. On the Estapo, it says, is there lien, is there
Okay.
any,
So, on the Estopel, when you sell your
Yeah,
house, that's
yeah,
what you're talking about. There will be no liens on anyone's home or anyone's property that they live on. There will be no lien.
we live on a piece. We don't, our people share, correct? We don't own the property we live on, it's shared.
Sal, you're not listening. We share the piece of, I said, the piece of land that you have a proprietary lease on will never have a lien, never. Nor will your house. You can buy and sell freely. There will be no lien ever.
When you buy a share in Jamaica Bay, do you get a deed for that property?
You have a proprietary lease. The proprietary lease on the, I don't know how to say this differently. The proprietary lease on the land that your home is on will never have a lien. I don't know, am I still not making sense?
I don't understand how, it's one piece of property, I don't understand how that goes.
No, there are lots. There's
One piece of property.
no, each lot is zoned. Each lot has a name. Your proprietary lease does not say, you can, sorry, can everybody just be patient? I'm trying to speak English, but I don't know what I'm doing here. So the lot that you are on has a zone. When you look at your lot, your property has a tax number. Your lot is that number. It will never, ever have a lien on it with this project.
Okay, can I-
Never.
all right. Let's go back to our taxes. okay? When we pay property tax on our property, right, when we put a house in it. So you're telling me my property tax is different than everybody else's property tax?
Yeah,
By the
absolutely.
size of my property or by the share?
No, that's by the home you have on it that you own. And
So they use that square, they use that property alone, they don't,
There's a
don't
tax-
everybody share all the.
you have a tax roll number that identifies with every single address in
But
here.
is it combined as one share?
No.
Everybody's share is the
No.
same price?
No,
So it's a
it
single.
never has been.
So a single lot, so a single lot pays less tax than
Yes.
a single home.
Yes, unless they've got a $400,000 home sitting on it, yeah.
So you basically, you're paying a lot
But what
charges.
does that got, I don't understand what that has to do with anything.
Go on.
But it doesn't matter. So yes, every share value has the same. But the lot that you are sitting on, you pay taxes on, is not the same as mine, not the same as theirs, not the same as theirs. And there will never be a lien on it. So what is all this, I don't know how else to say. Your home and your
A lot of
property.
people are afraid, a lot of people are afraid.
What are you afraid of though? What,
A lot of people are afraid
of
that
what?
we're getting liens on the property. That's
But
what
I don't know how else to say it.
Sal, it's very simple. Read your prospectus. In the front few pages of your prospectus, it has the measurements of your and every other lot here. And that's how the county determines your tax. Very simple.
That's good. Yeah. If they want to take, they're going to say the property of common area.
Yeah.
They will own the common areas.
They won't own it unless we default on a loan, which isn't gonna happen.
We don't know that. Yeah, we get it tomorrow.
We don't know what you're gonna own tonight.
I
Nobody knows.
agree. All I'm saying is, we are telling people.
Wait, hold on. No, it's not. So here's the thing, as shareholders of 735, we are shareholders. If this whole community gets wiped out in a hurricane, you say, okay, so if this whole property gets wiped out in a hurricane, we still own one share of the land that's here. So we will always, so even if the worst case happens, we do this whole project and the next year everybody loses their home. Ray knows this example because he bought a share of a place that was burned to the ground. You still own the share of the property. Now, the expenses may be only a loan payment on that because there's no water flowing, nobody's living there, nobody's got electricity. But your share does not go away. So I can't even think of an example where this loan will not be repaid. Because if it's wiped out, you either walk away from it and everybody else gets more land to dig up, or you keep paying your $5 loan, I don't know what it's going to be. But you don't, this is what makes a co-op different. We own a share of the community. And we own it in good times and bad. Some people have lost homes, some people have had disasters happen, they have to fix it. But they still own their share and they still pay their assessment fee. The assessment fee may be $20 if that happens, but you still own it. So I don't see how, as shareholders, there's ever going to be an issue repaying a loan.
We had an issue here years ago with a property manager who got half of our money. So this is something we got to keep on.
Well,
You brought that up many.
I have, because there was fraud handled, because you had a board that was not effective against a one-man property manager. But that's not where we're at today.
But there's a lot of ifs on.
There's a lot of ifs, but the big if is everybody will have to relocate if this water gets condemned. That's not an if.
So you also said we have a water main problem, because a lot of things, we don't have a lot of water, it's lateral, that's okay. That this park will be closed down for a lot of time.
If the health department closes our water system down,
But they haven't even checked our water, is that correct?
what do you mean they have to check?
They check the water coming in.
We're on a boil water nose. We're on a boil water nose. And they're not removing it the way we are now.
That's because of the contamination problem. Then we said we check every house.
No. We have not done every pipe. I think you're just.
No, we
you're
said we
doing
found-
things that aren't
We
happening.
said we did every house.
He did every house where the water was coming through. Did he check your house? Did he
I
check my
don't
house?
know. I'm just asking. I'm not here.
No, he did not say he checked every house.
He didn't check the water, he checked the connection.
The cross, just to finish on that subject.
Sit down. Sit down.
Sorry, if anyone has a question, please don't just stand back there and yell them out. If you have a question, please come up and we'll get answered.
I have a question.
Please, everyone, I know it's, everyone. Sorry,
This is the first meeting I've been to in this 2 weeks.
Aren't you glad you came?
Oh, understood. I'm Kathy Crowe, 66007. The question has nothing to do with being or repayment of any of this stuff. So what we're talking about relocating the lines from the back of the house to the front. Really simple question. Nobody has to get stressed. Are you going to, because I have had 2 water mains behind my house since I've been here for 50 years. In one case, they had to shore up this land near the house because it was that close with cement house. My question is this: you're going to relocate the main lines to the front of the house. Are those old pipes going to stay there, or are you going to do them out? I told you it's a simple question. I'm curious.
Once the new system is operational and all the homes have been switched also to the new one, the old one will be shut down and abandoned.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about it taking 2 feet by my house. So thank you.
No, they will be.
Because they're very close behind my house.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. If they break, they undermine your house, absolutely.
Okay.
So they'll be there, they'll have no pressure, so they'll be staying there now.
I do have another question. Again, simple, and may have nothing to do with the pollution of the water, but I'm curious why the water that comes into my house stains my bathtubs. Seriously?
Yeah, not water.
Yeah, you think so? Because in one tub I got black grit, the other tub I got brown stain. I don't know if it's just hard water or not. Just throwing it out there to lighten the topics.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, everyone, please, let's try to get through many questions for things.
Sorry, hi. Bruce Monroe from Drawn Bay, 36018 Drawn Bay, Bruce Monroe. 3 questions. The zero assumption for the fee, what percent grant was that based on?
Okay, sorry, the question was when I said it would be 0, what percent grant is that based on? And to be honest, it doesn't matter. So what happens right now is, I'll just use numbers of, so right now, we put, next year, we're supposed to put 712,000 into the reserve. So, sorry, everybody, can you please stop talking. So what would happen is, let's say we owe 100,000, we don't, but let's say we owe 100,000. So what we would do is we put, normally if we do nothing, we'll put 700, actually would be more than 700, because we're gonna have to start topping that reserve up for the catastrophe that'll eventually happen if we don't do anything. But we would take 700,000, put it in reserve, but it'd be split in 2 places. You would pay the 700,000, but 100 would go to the SRF loan reserve account, and 600 would stay in our reserve account. So you're going to pay 700 regardless next year. It'll be split in 2 pieces, so it's not going to cost you 1 dime more. So if it is 700,000 and we get a much lower loan and we have to pay 300,000, 400,000 will go to reserve 300. Because we're going to have brand spanking new water pipes, brand spanking new roads. Now we don't have to be funding for all those years we didn't fund for those places because we've been given, and don't quote me because we don't know till August next year. We could be given $8 million and it doesn't cost us. We don't have to pay that 700 anymore.
All right, so what you're saying is, regardless, even if the grant was 0, which is unlikely, I understand.
Yeah.
But even if it was 0, you're saying
It would take that.
it would just consume maybe the entire amount.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have to be providing for that like we are right now. Yeah, that makes sense?
So actually that kind of answers my second question too. The boil water notice was there, this, I heard that the city did a water quality check and it was fine, but that was at the source coming in. What, was there another test done, boil water notice?
Steve, I wasn't here, so you're gonna have to take this one.
Yeah, the boiled water notice was precautionary. You'll pardon the expression, cover your ass type of thing for the health department. Nobody can find where the source of the cross contamination was, so it's in the best interest to have a boiled water notice where they can now say, you've been warned. And if you didn't boil your water, it's not our fault.
Why wouldn't they do a test though, just to?
They supposedly did come out and test, do independent tests. That's what I was informed when we first notified the health department.
Could we ask for the results of that?
Yes, you could.
You want, so
No, we can ask for it. The health department told us that they could not find any problems with the water level, and I took them at their word. There was no reason to question.
No, I hear you. I'm just wondering. It seems strange to me that they would issue a boiled water.
No.
Without a test being done.
Yeah, but it's based on the fact that there was yellow stinky water in homes and we didn't find what's causing it.
That yellow sticky water still was never tested.
Usually what happens is that they will see if the residual chlorine level will drop. All of a sudden, someplace, you can't tell why. So the water quality is changing all of a sudden, so they couldn't find what was wrong. They could see something was wrong at one point, because you cannot tell where it was wrong and that was fixed. They can't tell you to just go ahead. Like when we issue boil water notices, if something happens, we have to put in cautionary boil water notice. So for example, we did a pipe broke and we fixed it. We fixed it under pressure never dropped, but we still have it exposed, right, to the elements. So what we will do is a precautionary boil water notice. We will sample 2 days in a row right after that, but we fix the pipe. So there is a direct link that why we put in a precautionary boil water notice, and now what did we do to get that precautionary boil water notice off? So we had to sample, but we also had to fix the pipe. In your case, because nothing was found, it's hard for them to say that there is no contamination anywhere, or there is just a contamination that they couldn't find. So that's the problem we come into, because we've got a lot of leaks, small breaks all the time. The Department of Health cannot just say, no problem, second time we tested, everything was good, so you're good. Or the third time somebody comes test, what if that's not good? So they cannot take a chance, that's why they call it a precaution.
All right. That's it. Thank you.
Steve,
Next.
I think it's important to mention too, right now, there is no fire protection inside the community, is that correct?
No, we have full fire hydrant protection.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Otherwise, we have to have a fire watch, and we don't. So we're fine as far as our existing hydrants are concerned.
And that's not the reason, because your irrigation lines and your potable lines are not completely separated out for sure. That's another reason why Department of Health will say to have precautionary boil water, because just in case there is some connection someplace, they can't take a chance.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name's Lynn, and I just have just a couple questions.
Sorry, you're in your echo?
Well, I live here.
I know, in the community.
You need to give your address, Lynn, you need to give your address, because this is a closed meeting to shareholders only, so you're identifying yourself.
Okay, 1001 Arcevo. Okay, Paul's. All right. My question is, with every study that's done, there are risks. There's a pro and a con. And I'd like you to identify what risks you've identified with the project, not just the good stuff, because we know what the good stuff is. I'd like to know what the risks are with the whole process, okay? And then I'd like to know if we're gonna get a copy of this, this meeting too, and my other questions. And that's all I have.
Risks, I mean, what I can come up with today is it's heavy construction. You know, they're tearing out the streets, replacing pipes, going deep.
Mhm.
There'll be noise. There'll be
Foundations of the home,
no. That shouldn't be a problem.
should it be or won't be?
That's not going to be a
And if
problem.
it does,
That's not a problem.
I live in a older place, I just moved here now. And so I know what.
We can't hear.
Oh. Okay, I know what construction does, and I know what deep construction does. Okay, I've been around a long time, and I know that those things affect your foundation. I know they affect, you know, all that stuff. And there's electricity lines in here, I'd like to know how those are. I'd like to know all of the avenues that are outside just the water, what the risks are to.
I can say one thing, that doing nothing is such a major risk for your community that you've got to figure out a way to do something. Yeah, so you've got to figure out a way to fix the issues. Not doing something is not an option for you at this point. So it's up to you. If you don't want to do something because something else could happen, that's a community decision.
That doesn't tell me what the risks are. That's what I'd like to know. We don't know.
The shutdown of the community.
There's no
if it
risk.
goes-
There's zero risk.
Any heavy construction risks that you might encounter? I mean, they're not driving piles or causes heavy vibration that you need to monitor.
What kind of equipment is used?
I would expect a typical backhoe, front end loader type equipment
already
to
use
dig
now.
the trenches and put
And
the
then
pipes.
who fixes the lawn after that's done?
The contractor that you hire will be responsible for restoring everything to pre-existing conditions.
Any grass seed and all that stuff? and all
If
that
they
stuff?
take out grass, they will replace the grass, yeah.
Okay, and thank you for all the study you have done and the research, but, you know, I know from past experience that there are risks with anything, and I'd like to know what those are. Okay, thank you.
I think as Poonam says, the bigger risk is with the water.
No, that's not what I'm talking about, it's not fair. That's not.
No, but it's a fact. The biggest risk we have right now.
There's a good.
Yeah. If we knew what they were, we'd share them, but we don't have anything that's.
Thanks for your input.
Hi, your question.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Anthony Rossini, 200782. I just have a question. Do you have any idea how close to the house it's going to be? Because you said the trunk lines are going to be out in the street, and then they're going to run the line around the back to where the main is. So the tie-in, the closer you get to the house, the more problem you can have with the piping in the house. So, I mean, are they going to tie it in 10 feet from the house where you won't really have that problem, the vibration? Do you have any idea?
So the bigger pipelines, we want to try to keep them far away from the house as much as reasonable, you know, without, you don't want to put it on the middle of the road, but maybe on the side of the road, edge of asphalt, maybe in the grass, depending on where the house is.
I understand
We'll see
that. No, what I mean is when you bring it around to the back of the house, now the pipe comes off our property into the trunk in the back. Are they going to tie it in out in the back in the yard, or are they going to do it closer to the house?
So what will most likely happen is the service line, which is the smaller 3/4-inch pipe diameter pipe, they put it from the main front to the back. If they do that, that will be the shallower pipe. Usually they hand dig all the trench to put that tubing, if you will, it's like a hose, all the way to the back. So there won't be heavy machinery, you know.
No, I'm not worried about that.
So the connection to the house goes around and gets done right at the house.
So you're
Pipe will
going
come right to the
to
house.
come right to where the valve is.
Absolutely, because that's where the old pipe is.
The new valve, okay.
Yes.
Because I was wondering, like, I'm a plumber for 45 years, so I put filters on my house. I mean, I come down twice a month, and my water would stink. And I run it for 45 minutes, and then it would be okay. As a matter of fact, this is the first time it didn't smell. So, but I have dual filters on, so that's a good idea for yourselves. You can do it yourself. put filters on the water. But, thank you.
Hello, I'm Rita Kaiser. My address is 42012 Gemma Bay.
Shh, everybody, sorry, so we can hear.
I just want to thank the panel. I've come to every one of these meetings and I've learned more tonight than I ever have. And I really appreciate your efforts that you're putting out, all of you. My question is, you mentioned that this go by the streets. Will we lose access to our house when you're doing this work?
During construction of the pipeline in front of the house, yes, because they have to dig a trench and put the pipe cover back up. Usually that takes maybe a day or so. So for one day, it will have to be properly coordinated with the homeowners. They'll be notified by the contractor and they'll have crews there. They'll say, look, today we're going to do this street and, make sure we plan for it, park the cars somewhere else. So yeah, that's part of the coordination that will have to happen with the contractor so that, not, your inconvenience, the minimum amount possible.
Thank you.
You would have to tip that down a bit.
I'm Maria Amador. I live in Grand Terrace, 17001. 17001. And I wonder why I don't have pressure in the water in my house.
So you don't have pressure now?
No.
Oh, so that's an office thing. That's not you need to call the office but there was a no go out today because I don't know if people, so when our pipes break constantly, you get grit and all sorts of things in the pipe that then flows through the system and can block your drains. So there was no space. Just when people haven't been here for a while, you might need to, I forgot what's the name of the thing?
The aerator, faucets.
You need to, you may have to have somebody come and take those out and fix
I asked the maintenance man and he said, you don't know, but there's nothing I can do.
No, just read that note that Steve sent out today, and then you may have to get somebody, a friend or someone who can come in and do that for you. That should fix now. We have no pressure problems now. So.
But you are pressure problem before?
No, that's not pressure. It's.
Well, I got
But if it's just about our current pressure, do you mind talking to Stephen in the office about it, just because it's different from what we want to do going forward? If that's okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. More questions? Ken, since we met at pickleball.
What's that? 41005 Isabel Bay. I have just one question. What about the downtime of each individual unit of when they're going to have the disconnect and the connect to the new unit? Like I live here all year, so I mean,
It won't be long because what will happen is the new pipes will be installed, be pressure tested, backdated, and placed into service while the old system is still operational. So once that's done, one by one, they'll switch each home to the old system to the new system. That might take a couple hours, maybe 1 hour max, while they do the change in pipe connection. So you'll be notified when it happens, of course.
All right.
You won't be without water for more than an hour or two.
Yeah. Okay.
We lose it for more than that now.
Yeah.
More questions? There was a gentleman over there who was worried about assessment, so I don't know if he could have gone. Okay.
Hi,
Yes.
Rex there. I live at 15011 Jamaica Bay Drive East. In the middle of my driveway, double driveway, I have a water main. It's got a metal plate over it. I guess it's a shut off. Will you have to do the driveway up from there to the street?
I'll have to see exactly what that particular situation is.
It's about a foot from the street.
It's an existing water main?
Yes.
Well, if it's existing and we're not touching it, in theory, we shouldn't have to touch a driveway.
Okay.
Now, putting pipes down roads, evidently you need a wide trench. So, we may affect some driveways, we may not. It depends on each particular design, the design of the pipeline on each road. If any driveway is disturbed and will be replaced.
Well, mine, I've had a surface put on it that was quite expensive. So would that be my responsibility if you put the concrete back to?
I don't know, that's discuss how we handle that situation, but,
We'll just have to keep that in mind.
Okay.
we'll try to avoid it, we'll try to avoid those kind of things as much as possible.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
More questions? No more questions. Oh.
Zero, everybody, zero.
Sorry. And again, the gentleman was asking, in 2 years, will we have an assessment? No, it will continue to be like that because we have a huge top up to make from underfunding before. But if we get a brand new set of assets and they're going to last 70 years, we don't need to put a whole bunch of money into them because we get to fund it for the next 70 years, which will be somebody else's issue. But there is nothing that's going to be a surprise beyond what we find out next August when we know how much is granted, how much. There will be no more surprises. We all own a share of whatever is here. Funding will be set out. And remember, when we do this, our costs will drop for repairs. Our leaky water will drop, so the usage will drop down. So there's other savings as well. But I'll summarize that after the question. Sorry about that. Yes, Linda. Can you turn the mic and move it up a bit?
No. Tap, tap, tap. Hang on. Steve, help her. There it is.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. I have two questions. One is just, this is just one of those freak type things. In somebody's house, the connections got all messed up and they got pressure everywhere and there's damage maybe to their home. Are they going to take care of that? That's my first question. And my second one is, do we have enough fire hydrants in here? Yes. I don't even, I walk and I don't even know where they're at. I walk daily. Okay. So.
To answer the first question, to answer your first question, I mean, if during construction the contractor does something that causes damage, that's their responsibility to fix it, obviously. That's one question. And then the second question.
Do we have fire hydrants?
Oh, the fire hydrants, yes. There's painted yellow, I think.
Next question. Check.
Jan McIntosh, 36020 John Bay. How long are we going to be in construction? How long will this project till from beginning to end?
So that's a good question. How long? We are estimating the project, the active construction period, construction phase, I would say. They won't start for the first several months as they get ready. But we're allocating about 2 years to be constructed. Now, the key is to make sure they do it in phases because you don't want to have the whole community being disturbed at once. So what we would require the contractor to do is to go into an area, do the work, finish it, and then move to the next another area, and so on. They can move to the next one to the finished one within reason, within design, wherever it makes sense, so that least amount of people are being inconvenienced during that period of time. So it doesn't mean to see construction for 2 years in front of your home.
No, I'm not saying like in the community.
But overall, it is a large community.
Right.
You want to buy ample time for the contractor, but otherwise they'll just increase their pricing just.
Is that with the water and the roads?
Yes.
And from what I got, possibility it will start in 27.
That's target.
And so it would be till 29, 30, say by 30.
That's hopefully sooner than that. So 27, 28.
You're just about right.
I just was blessed about the time. Thank you.
Okay, question. Oh, sorry, the gentleman sitting over there, you had some questions. Sorry, you sitting, yep, you had a bunch.
Tap, tap.
It's not working. Okay. Everything that's been said here is fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but you never gave us, there's gonna, how are we gonna pay this back with an assessment? How would pay this, how would pay the loan? How would pay the
You will
loan?
pay the loan right now. So we just went through that example of 700. Okay. Okay, so it's good to stay because then you get the answers that we go through. But sorry everybody, can I just go through this one more time? Right now you pay as part of your fee a big chunk to our reserve funds. The loan, so I'll use the same example. Right now, if you look at what you pay in your $250 a month, you pay a big chunk of that to our top, put the reserve fund up so we can pay for all the things we constantly do here. So if the example is we pay $700,000 into our reserve fund next year and we owed $100,000 on the loan, you would pay $600 to the reserve fund and $100 to the loan, so your total is still $700. So it will be taken from the reserve fund top up that you're doing every year. So there will be no increase, no assessment separately from that. It will be part of your funding that you're going to pay regardless that amount or more if we don't do the project. This will pay out of the reserve.
Okay. Now, for these pipes to go from the street to the back of your house, are they gonna tear up your landscaping?
I mean, any impacts to your landscaping will be minimized as much as possible. There may be impacts, there may not be.
You're gonna go in between the houses.
Yes. Yeah.
So what's everybody raising sticks about? That's fine. I mean, I don't know. Who cares? Everybody's asking all these stupid questions.
Okay, are you good? You got yours answered? Great. Next.
Thanks for your input.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking our time.
And if anybody else has a question, can you get ready to come in right behind here? That would be great.
Sorry, Patty Warman, 11016 Edie Bay. I moved in here 8 years ago, and I requested from the office that I could please have potable water to the outside of my home, like all my neighbors. And they told me no. You are not grandfathered in.
I don't know what you're talking about. Everybody has potable water?
Outside their homes, they have drinking water. All I have is the brackish irrigation water outside my home. All my neighbors have a separate line where they could drink out of their.
They drink out of a hose?
They could.
We know that.
Yeah, they have good water outside of their house. I even saw a guy washing his car. He wasn't washing it with brackish water.
Everybody will have the same at the end of this project. You'll have irrigation and
Well, why was I denied that 8 years ago?
I don't know. We're talking about moving forward. I have no idea what happened years ago.
You know, I'm just gonna have an outside, somebody
Yeah.
come in and do it like, so I can be just like my neighbors?
I know, but this has nothing to do with the project. So if we could,
Well, I feel discriminated against. I don't think it's a fair.
You want to drink outside?
sorry, but if we can just stay on. Sorry, if we can just stay on track with the water project, that would be great if you don't mind. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. You might have to move it up a bit there.
Okay, hold it. Tap, tap, tap.
Just have to blow it.
All of it.
Case made. The question on that, cleaning them back. Okay, I'm gonna tell you from experience right now, that when these construction guys come in, they're gonna have to put this in writing. Because I just had a trailer brought in my place. I've had backhoes, dump trucks, pickup trucks, people in and out, and they tore the whole yard up there. And I asked them, are you gonna clean this up? They said, no, it's your responsibility. So I think these people need to tell them they gotta put that in writing to clean up these front yards. You know what I'm saying? Because they tore my yard up. And not, okay? Sorry.
Any idea what he's talking about? A new home was brought in, and I guess when they were bringing it in, they tore up some of the grass on his property, and they said they're not fixing it. That's what he said.
Hi, I'm Joanne Capital back on Zoom. And mine just a simple question. I didn't know there was the boil water in effect. When did it start and how long will it be?
It started a few months ago. We've sent out a couple of times, and it'll be in effect till we fix the problem under the ground.
I haven't know.
Yeah, I mean, if people are testing it individually and say their tests are coming up fine, so, but it's an independent decision, you've got to decide what works for you.
So in other words, I've been brushing my teeth and I didn't even know.
The majority, well, yeah, we notified everybody, so. More questions? If everybody can kind of, I think we're getting to the end, we're losing people, and come up here, please, if you've got a question to ask.
Lori, I am Lori Robbins, 1016 Antelope Fed, and I agree with that other guy. Get it in writing that they're going to fix stuff, because when we had Blue Stream, we were told that they would fix any problems that any sprinklers they broke and stuff. And I spent many hours with people's sprinklers. They had to pay me for that, and they never got reimbursed from Blue Stream.
So part of the work we're doing is developing a project manual, which will have technical specs and contract documents and all the requirements of the contractor to follow. There will be a restoration requirement there to restore anything they disturb and also anything they break. So the irrigation lines, those lines, so that will be in writing.
Bruce.
Hi. Just one question just came up. The cross-contamination issue. If that issue actually exists within somebody's home, I mean, there's the pipes within somebody's home. When the connections are made to the new system, will somebody be checking underneath people's houses to make sure that there's been that issue still doesn't exist? Obviously, we don't want to put this brand new system in and then still have the non-potable water contaminating our brand new system.
That's a good question. It's very unlikely that the cross connection is inside the home because the irrigation water doesn't make it inside the home. Most likely, somebody at some point, a plumber, resident, somebody found a white pipe in its drinking water when it was actually the irrigation, because they both use the same kind of pipe and they connected to it and nobody knows when or why or how it's underground. That's most likely to happen. Regardless of that, the new system, once the service connection comes out of the main trunk line at the road, it will get closer to the surface and there will be a backflow prevention device at each home. So every single service connection going to the back of the home will be protected with the backflow device. So even if they did that again, only that one resident will be affected and not the actual home supply.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Anything else? Okay. I'm just going to summarize some of the things that are reasons for doing or not doing this project. and then if anybody has questions, they can come up again. But the impact of not accepting going ahead with the SRF funding are the annual reserve fees will rise significantly to fund the water infrastructure for a future emergency. Right now, we're funding at $7 million. We know this project could be anywhere from 10 to 13 million. So to get that kind of money, with the reserve top up would have to go up. So, and also the road repaving, which is part of this. So we would have to fund ourselves and start funding right now for those extra things. So our reserve funding, which is part of your 250 every month, will have to go up if we don't go ahead. They're also, given the significance of the underfunding, there would probably be a large assessment if we don't do this. Continued patchwork of repairs, risk contaminated water and potential shutdown of Jamaica Bay by the health department is a real risk. The water expenses will continue to climb like they are now from ongoing leaks and breaks and driving up the monthly fees. Without major funding, the only option to eliminate the contamination is a costly excavation of all the irrigation lines. And that is an unfunded burden right now to try to dig everything up and find that. There is no money for that. This would not move us forward in any way by doing that anyway, instead of replacing the lines. This is not a scare tactic, but if we get shut down by the health department, and we wouldn't be the first people to do that, we may need a backup housing plan. Because if you've heard that it's going to take about 2 years to do this project, and if they don't turn it back on and let us go back in, may have to find somewhere to live for 2 years. That is, and there wouldn't be any financial assistance for that, unfortunately. And not accepting means rejecting millions of dollars in free funding that would likely cover at least 50% of this upgrade. The impact of accepting it, there will be no increase in annual fees because it will come out of the reserve contributions to cover both loan payments and reserve funding. The reserve contributions will be reduced proportionally by the amount of the loan, as I described in that $700,000 example. The community will receive millions in free funding to support the upgrade. Irrigation lines will be installed in the final section of the community that was never done, reducing the expense of using expensive potable water in that section. They will then have irrigation water. The assessment fees will not have to support the current water usage loss and cost, as water usage will drop because of all the leaks that are no longer draining the water. Water-related repair and maintenance costs will also be minimal for years because everything will be brand new, and we know that it will not need to be repaired all the time, and that will not burden your monthly fees as well. And basically, the board and the board members and shareholders, like everyone else in this room and on Zoom, we understand when a plan makes sense. Getting this stage has been over 2 years in the making. It's been the main work job that Jack Collins and I had on the board, as well as many other people. Getting to this, we have had to fend off unfortunate attacks at every kind of turn of events on this from a small group of shareholders, and it's been very difficult. But we've still gotten to the right plan here. Please don't let those people distract you from what's best possible solution with the huge win this would be for all of us. Let us all move forward positively with the outstanding opportunity we have before anything happens to interfere with our ability to do this on our own and on our own managed terms. Running a community isn't just about solving today's problems. It's about building a foundation for tomorrow as well. And our job as a board is to build strong reserves, be financially transparent, which we are. And we have to plan for improvements before they become emergencies. We have to lead with a vision, not just reaction. So, are there any other final questions on this? Because I don't want anybody leaving the room and walking out and going, oh, that didn't make sense, or something. Please make sure. Sure.
Scott Bachman, 6018 Daiquiri Bay. Great job on the project, by the way. Are the sewer lines, are they going to be addressed?
Not with this project. that we have talked about it because they are also very old. There are a number of different things that we've looked at with sewer lines. We're just waiting to get this thing going and then.
Because if the streets are open, it might be the right time to.
Yeah, it's just, well, they won't do it at the same time. They won't, that's what we originally thought might be happening, but there are other ways to investigate, have problems with cameras, and we have looked at that already to see.
So they've been scoped a lot?
Not yet. Yeah. Thank you.
Diana, Ravelli, 35002 Dales Bay. I know you've mentioned, and we're all happy about the zero assessment. Yeah. But don't you think the HOA fees will go up?
The HOA fees, I can guarantee you they're going up next year. Okay. But it's not because of the project.
It's not because of the
It's what
project.
I've been saying, legal fees are costing us, we're losing a ton of water.
Right, but everybody was real. Go.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy because there's zero increase.
With the water project.
But you have to remember that's only with water.
Yeah, inflation, everything. So no, you'll see on the line items, we'll do the budget presentation in December and you'll see it all exactly what's causing any increase. Questions, anybody else? Please, if you have anything, now's the time. Nothing? Thank you so much to our friends from the city of Boynton and Daniel. Thank you.